Imagine the responsibility that you have now that you know you are chosen by Jesus. Oh, now that has to scare you a little bit. You're chosen by Christ. Christ Jesus himself said this. Show them, you did not choose me, I chose you. Can you imagine what it means to be chosen by Jesus? No, you nahi samjha. Can you imagine your standard in the spiritual world if you're chosen by Jesus? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the authority that you have inside of you if you are chosen by Jesus? Can you imagine? Imagine the responsibility that you have now that you know you are chosen by Jesus. Oh, now that has to scare you a little bit. Imagine, because you're chosen by Jesus. That means you're chosen for a very high purpose. That changes everything. Because being chosen now, listen to this, being chosen is not only about who has chosen you, being chosen is also about what you're chosen for. Now let's talk business. Now let's talk about what you're chosen for. Show them. You did not choose me, so now you can't do anything with your life. Live your life, be what you want to be. No, I chose you. Shut up. I chose you. And I appointed you now. You got a job. I appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit. You are chosen by Jesus to bear fruit. You are chosen to be fruitful. That is your purpose. You remember what God said when He just created you? Remember that? He said, be fruitful. The first thing He said when God created you was be fruitful. The first thing Jesus said when He chose you also is be fruitful. Why? Because that is your purpose. Never forget that. Never forget that. Your purpose, say that, my purpose is to be fruitful. See, a lot of people come to me and say, Pastor, I don't know my purpose, Pastor, I'm confused about my purpose. Is my purpose to be a businessman? Is my purpose to be a photographer? I don't know about my purpose. But they are really asking the wrong question. They are not asking about their purpose. They're asking about their calling. There's a difference. Can I teach you now? Yes. There's a difference between calling and purpose. Now, your calling can be to be a businessman. But your purpose is to be fruitful while you're in business, as a businessman. Because a businessman cannot be a businessman if he's not fruitful. Because the fruit of a businessman is success. And what is a businessman who doesn't have success? You getting this? Your calling can be to be a photographer. But your purpose is to be fruitful as a photographer. Because a photographer cannot be a photographer if he's not fruitful. Because the fruit of a photographer is the beauty that he captures in his photographs. So, samjha? Nahi samjha. Your calling can be to be a teacher. But your purpose is to be fruitful as a teacher. Because the fruit of a teacher is the knowledge and understanding she imparts to her students. Your calling can be to be a designer. I'm trying to hit all of you right now. Your calling can be to be a designer, but your purpose is to be fruitful. Because a designer cannot be a designer if she is not fruitful. Because the fruit of a designer, tell them Ash, is her creativity. My calling is to be a pastor. My purpose is to be fruitful. Because a pastor cannot be a pastor if he is not fruitful. And the fruit of a pastor is faith. That's why I'm trying to give you faith. I'm trying to grow your faith because that is my fruit. That's why I'm focused on your life and not on my life. That's why I put my life behind and I'm looking forward so that you can grow. I do all of this, not for me, but for you. Why? Because your faith is my fruit. Your faith is my fruit. Because that's my purpose, to be fruitful. Are you producing fruit? And not just fruit. Show them the next one. Check this out. Fruit that will last. Are you producing something that will last, not for yourself, but for the world after you leave it behind? Have you seen fruit that lasts? Let me show you. This is a fruit that has lasted. Ironically, it's named after a fruit. Ironically, it's named apple. Because the guy who produced it, he's gone. He's dead and gone. Steve Jobs is dead, but his fruit still remains. This is a fruit. Have you heard of Christianity? The guys who produced Christianity, the first disciples, they're dead and gone. But Christianity still remains. Peter, who stood up and preached the first sermon, he's dead and gone. But pastors are still preaching sermons. Even today, fruit that lasts. In Genesis, God creates you. Why? First thing he says, your purpose, be fruitful. Right? So God creates you. Reason, your fruit. Jesus chose you. Reason, your fruit. The devil attacks you. Reason, your fruit. The devil is after your fruit. The devil is after your fruit. Remember the first temptation in the Bible? The first temptation of humankind. What happened? The serpent went to Eve with a fruit. What fruit was it? Mango. Not apple. Mango. Because your pastor hates mangoes. No, it was not a mango. It was the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. But see, that was not, are you paying attention? This is important. That's not the fruit that he was after. That was the fruit that he was offering. That was the fruit of temptation. The fruit that he was after was the fruit of life. And check this out. By tempting Eve with the fruit of knowledge, he kept Eve away from the fruit of life. That is exactly what he's doing to you today. He's after your fruit. And you're busy crying and coming to me, Pastor, my wife, Pastor, my husband. No, Pastor, your fruit. Pastor, my health is so bad. No, your fruit. It's all about your fruit. The devil attacks you because of your fruit. The devil deceives you because of your fruit. You're tempted because of your fruit. Why don't you get it? It's not about anything else. It's about your That's why the devil attacks you, because he knows in an attack you will stop bearing fruit and you will forget about the fruit and you'll start doing things that you are not chosen to do. Put that story of Gideon up. Let me show you about Gideon. Gideon was threshing wheat in a wine press. Say that with me. Threshing wheat in a wine press. Why? To keep it from the Midianites. When the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon, he said, the Lord is with you, mighty warrior. Ours? It's like that moment when you come to church and you are all lost and bored and defeated and sick, and suddenly God calls you chosen. And you don't believe it. Like Gideon didn't believe. He says, mighty warrior, pardon me, my Lord. Gideon replied, but if the Lord is with us, why has all of this happened to us? Where are all his wonders that our ancestors told us about when they said, did not the Lord bring us up out of Egypt? But now the Lord has abandoned us and given us in the hand of Midian. That was the enemy, the Midianites. Then the Lord did not waste time. Don't worry, it's going to be okay. I love you. No. He turned to him straight away and said, go. See the tone. Go in the strength that you have. Strength that I have? What? Did Gideon have strength? I'm asking you right now. Where was it? We'll find out. And save Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you? The same thing what Jesus is trying to remind you today. Have I not chosen you? I have chosen you. Jesus is reminding this. Why does Jesus have to remind you, I have chosen you? Why? Because you're doing something that you're not chosen to do. Because Gideon was doing something he was not chosen to do. What was Gideon doing? He was threshing wheat in a wine press. You don't thresh wheat in a wine press. You thresh wheat on the threshing floor. And in a wine press, what do? You press wine. Check this out, okay? You're paying attention? Threshing floor, the purpose of a threshing floor is to thresh wheat. The purpose of a wine press is to press wine. And when you press wine in a wine press, you're doing things according to its purpose. And when you're threshing wheat on the threshing floor, you're doing things according to its purpose. But Gideon was doing what? Threshing wheat in a... Why was he threshing wheat in a wine press? Yeah, show them. Gideon was threshing wheat in a wine press to keep it from the Midianites. To keep it. Keep what? Keep what? Wheat. Wheat. Why was he trying to keep wheat from the Midianites? Because Gideon thought that his fruit was wheat. Why? Because Gideon thought he was a farmer. And if you read the history books about Gideon, if you ask historians and Bible scholars about Gideon, they will tell you that Gideon was actually a farmer. Gideon was a farmer, they will tell you. Like some Christians say Paul was a tent maker. He was before. He did not make a single tent after he was called to ministry. Read the Bible. He knew all those friends from before. He did not. He was not a tent maker after God chose him. Just like Gideon was, he was a farmer, they will tell you, before he was chosen. But if you ask God, God will tell you, Gideon is not a farmer. God will tell you, Gideon is a warrior. That's how he knows Gideon. God doesn't see you according to what you're doing right now. God sees you according to what He created you. If God has chosen you to be fruitful, then He put fruitfulness already on the inside of you. If God has chosen you to be successful, He has already put success on the inside of you. If God has chosen for you to have favor, then He has already put favor on the inside of you. If God has chosen for you to prosper, listen now, Goa, God has put prosperity already inside of you. Check this out. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the power to produce wealth. And so He confirms His covenant, which He swore to your ancestors as it is today. God chose you. Otherwise, He would not give you the tools, the power, the ability to produce wealth, because He chose you to produce wealth. You are chosen to produce wealth. You are chosen to be sons and daughters of a Jehovah Jireh, the Lord my provider. Now guess who you are? You are the son of the provider. So now it's your turn now to provide to the world. The world has to come to you now, because Jehovah Jireh says, now it is finished. Now it's my church that's going to do the same things that I did all these years. It's your turn. I'm talking to you guys. It's your turn now to do the same things. The devil cannot stop you anymore. Tell him to his face, I am chosen by Jesus. People cannot stop you, reject you anymore. Why? Because you are chosen by Jesus. No one can stop you from doing the things you're created to do, because you are chosen by Jesus.